Can I steal you for a minute?
Steal you for a minute?
Can I steal you for a minute?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Can I Steal You for a Minute, the reality dating recap podcast. My name is Indra Raj.
And I'm Mary Bianco.
And we're so excited because we have a returning guest to the podcast. Zara Hanawalt is here with us. Hi, Zara.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. And before we get started, can you just give our listeners who might not have heard your last episode a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm a freelance journalist, primarily in the women's lifestyle space. So I do a lot of parenting content and motherhood, but I also write about culture, and I have written about reality TV, especially The Bachelor, for outlets like Cosmo, Parents, and The Every Girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And this is a great opportunity because Mary and I have been talking about this season all season. I would love to hear your thoughts on this season overall and Joan and the guys. And then maybe we can get into recapping this finale.
So I thought Joan was great. I thought she
agree.
was a really, really great lead. I also she has the wisdom you would expect from someone of her age and with her life experience, but she still seems fun. I'm 36 and I would love to just hang out with her.
Yeah.
So I think I didn't think The Golden Bachelor was really about Gary, but I thought this season was about Joan.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think she carried it. The other thing that I will say is that Jen's season of The Bachelorette had so much toxic masculinity, so it was a nice change from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a really cool modern day representation of dating, which is not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to feel completely retrograde. But it was really interesting to see Joan talk so much about how she's established and she's not looking for someone to build a life with. She's just looking for someone to come into the life she already has and enrich it. And I think that's such a common experience, even for women in their 30s and 40s who are dating and who already have their own thing going and aren't really looking to change a lot about their lives, and they're not looking to start from scratch with someone. And I think we just have so much representation of that experience of dating in your 20s and getting married young and sort of building. And look, I've been with my husband since I was 23, so I can't really talk, but
I think we're all in the same boat on that one.
Yeah. But I think we just see that represented all the time, and we don't really see this kind of representation. So I thought it was fun from that lens. Was I riveted every single week? No. The finale was particularly okay.
Yeah. So pretty boring.
Yeah.
It's we all know where this is going.
Yeah, I was listening to Love to See It's recap, and they were like, this entire finale could have just been an Instagram hard launch. And that sums it up.
100%. I totally agree with everything you said. I think having a show, especially the men tell all airing the day after the results of the election. And I have a feeling based on our conversations how you felt about the results of the election. So it was so nice to have deeply not toxic males on the screen, especially in that age group where it's we've seen boomers be so represented as so aggressive and so repressing of their own feelings. And so watching these men talk about how their support of one another and the friendship that they made has changed their lives. And I'm like, do all men need to go on the Golden Bachelorette? And
honestly, it's they don't need that. They need there needs to be male summer camps.
Yeah. Where they're they have to ask about something besides sports. You have to be okay, well, you get extra points if you ask someone how they feel today.
Yeah. It is interesting because I've heard a lot of Bachelor contestants compare the experience to being in therapy, just with the ITMs and the producers just asking you about your feelings all the time. And I wonder if maybe that's the key is we just need more men in therapy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll co-sign that all day.
The answer.
Definitely. Who is your favorite guy?
Wait, why am I thinking about this? It was Charles L, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean,
I saw a reel of his today It was, like, from a few days ago, but somehow it just popped up on my feed, and it was, like it was something about, like, using the audio that's like, "She is the moment. She
Yeah.
is this," and it was, like, him, and he was, like, just walking backstage, and I was like, "I am so obsessed with this person." Like, he is so
Deeply.
iconic.
And from the minute he stepped out of the limo, it was like
Yes.
instant favorite.
Like,
Yes.
whoever saw him in casting and was like, this is whoever saw him in casting and was like, this is it. 'Cause he's not like your stereotypical Bachelor Nation guy where he's
Yeah.
like, a lot of these guys were still jacked and quite big
Mark.
and
Yeah.
Mark. And they saw this guy and they were like, "You know what? This is the sweetheart of the season." And they knew
Yeah.
it immediately. Like, he got so much time in the first episode because they knew how special he was.
Yeah.
It was like lightning in a bottle. I mean, yeah, Mark has my heart in a lot of ways. That's like a
What a hottie.
dangerous celebrity crush for me
I
right
mean,
now.
those jeans, like Mark and
I
Kelsey both,
Crazy.
it's crazy.
They're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And Mark
Truly.
is dating Deb from One Tree Hill. I don't
I
know.
Wait, so
know.
he officially is dating her?
They did like a couple dance TikTok together. So there's
Okay.
like this one where it's like something the way you move and they like do this like dance together and like they did it together. So I think that's pretty
That
much
seals the deal.
it, and I think that may be why they didn't announce a Golden Bachelor because they were probably banking on Mark, and
Mhm.
Mark being the genuine guy that he is, like, liked
On
somebody and
love.
would rather date them than be the Bachelor.
I mean, it is sort of like there are bachelor producers somewhere who are, like, drinking in a dive bar being
Yeah.
like, "This was our shot for the
I
next
know.
season, and it's gone," and they're just like, "What do we do now?"
It made me
Do you
feel like
think it'll
when
be Charles?
I don't know. I
I don't
hope.
either. I hope so. I think that would be
I really want it to be Charles.
yeah.
But I actually, coming in today's conversation, wanted to talk to you all about this because I think, like, we just, like, can't ignore the fact that he is, like, an East Asian man
Yeah.
who will receive a lot of, like, hatred based on his identity.
Mhm.
And, like, so I want him to be in that role, and I also don't want him to be in that role because I'm afraid of that kind of backlash.
Yeah.
Someone in that position, like, I don't know, I wanna believe that, like, our country could be better, but I just am not really sure about that, especially after the
Recent
election.
history
Yeah.
is
Yeah. I also am, like, checking my own bias maybe where I can't imagine him actually doing it. Like, I would have so much fun watching him, but I can't imagine him being romantic, and I don't know if that's because of how he was with Joan or if that's because my own, like, maybe implicit bias against seeing Asian men in, like, a romantic lead, but I don't think so, but I'm like, I can't imagine him kissing someone on TV, which I think is, like, a roadblock because he
Yeah.
didn't kiss Joan.
This franchise, it really does this thing where it puts people into boxes of either like you are a romantic lead or you are a fun supporting
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
And I feel like Charles is in the box that Kathy and Susan were in
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
last season. They were always characters. They were always big parts of the season, but they were really never shown as romantic possibilities. And I think they've
Right.
kind of done that to him. There's other people too on, the main show. Like
Yeah.
the first person who comes to mind is McKenna from Peter Weber's season,
Yeah, yeah,
Cammie from that season.
yeah,
There's just always a few people who it's like, they're just oversimplified and it's like you're never going to find love type of thing.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I hear you, Mary, and I've had the same thought, and then I'm like, but can we actually transcend those things in this unique situation? Because, like, Joan was, like, not a very outwardly sexual bachelorette,
Yeah,
you know? Like, she barely kissed the guys.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
were not really any, like, legit makeouts
No,
this season.
and I think, like, because of that, on the other side of the coin for me, thinking about Charles as the Bachelorette, as The Bachelor, I'm thinking like, how important is that stuff really? Like, I think especially at this age, the conversations that like really touched us were like the emotional connection between them. Like, she kissed Chalk a lot, obviously, but the things that I was most touched by with their relationship was like their conversations about loss and like the way
Right.
that he spoke to her children. It's kind of like them kissing actually took me a little bit out of it because they were talking so much more deeply than the mainstream show.
Right. I mean, I think it could be about other things. It is definitely like he has absolutely you're right, Zara. Like he's been cast in this light as like the funny side character, but everybody loves him. Like
Yeah.
I just know people would show up to watch the season. And like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I just think like if I peek my head behind the curtain and like I don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes on these shows, but it would be such a different vibe I think for the producers that they might be really I could just see them being really unsure about it and maybe
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
like that standing in the way of things, which is
Mhm.
like this is the time to take risks, everybody.
What have
Let's
we
try
got to
Yeah.
lose? What have we got
Yeah.
to lose? I just hope that they don't pick Guy because Guy is currently doing a hard self campaign on Instagram. And it just is like, I got into a fight with someone on Instagram this week on our Can I Steal You for a Minute podcast. Not really a fight. Like Bachelor Windmill, who usually posts like really funny memes, posted like Guy for Golden Bachelor. And I just commented like, no, we absolutely should not be platforming men with a history of violence against women. And someone came for me and told me it was concept creep that I was using the word violence in that context because if we overuse violence then like it'll never be available to me. No, the word will never be available to me and we should study how concept creep desensitize people to words like genocide and we're so afraid to use them in the context that matters. And I'm like, what hoops are you jumping through to defend Guy?
Yeah.
Like I think you
Right.
forgot at the base of this conversation we're talking about a guy who like pointed finger guns and yelled and sent angry text messages to his ex-wife. And if that is not violence enough for this franchise, like I don't care that she rescinded the restraining order. Like people rescind restraining orders all the time because they feel endangered. Like if they pick him, it would be so disappointing after everything because they'd be picking him just to avoid picking Charles, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, after everything, I mean,
Mhm.
have we learned nothing from
Nothing.
Devin?
Right.
Oh my god, I know. Well,
Have
and
you
it's like
seen his recent,
no.
like this tirade he's gone on? Oh God, he's
He basically commented, Indra, on there's rumors going around that Dana, I think I mixed Pasha and Devin in my head, that
yeah,
Jen is dating her Dancing with the Stars partner, Pasha. And
Oh, like it's actually real?
it's like
yeah. Sasha Farber.
Sasha.
Sasha,
So they're like
okay,
playing
okay.
with, they're either playing with us or they're dating, but either way, they're having so much fun.
Right.
Someone commented on Devin's Instagram being like, she's so much happier with Sasha. And Devin responded, Sasha is a girl's name. I'm sorry. Not that this is the point. The
Uh,
only people I know named Devin are girls.
and then he's getting like really aggro in the comments and like commenting on how people who are talking back to him look and just,
Oh my god. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm just like, "That's so immature." Like,
Yeah.
are
yeah,
we on the elementary school playground where you're like, "That's a girl's
That's a
name." Like,
girl's name.
what?
And it's like, you always have the option to say nothing. And I think that that's like
Right.
the mind blowing part with Devin is that like we're
He
still
can't
on
not.
this journey. We almost forgot about you. And then you had to say something. It's like,
I
yeah.
honestly had almost forgotten about him.
yeah.
Hmm.
And now I have to remember just what a piece of shit he is. Like, great, wonderful. Like, oh God. Well, okay. And the other thing about Guy that I don't want us to forget is like, not only was it the finger guns, like he didn't end up doing it, but he had plans to like pop the tires on this person's car, which could have resulted in like a serious injury like
Hmm.
slash like it could be like really bad and he's an doctor. There's something not right with him. I don't
No,
know. And I think if I had seen his story without this information, I would have been a little bit suspect of him anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard to know because I can't separate the two. Like I
I
know what
know.
I
Mhm.
know, but like there's just something I don't know. He doesn't feel like you watch him and he cries and he's upset and everything when Joan tells him goodbye and whatever. But like just watching the difference between him and Chalk, I'm just like, one of these people is very genuine and one of them is really not.
Mhm,
And it
mhm.
just felt like the comparison, it just felt like he was acting or something.
Yeah. I also saw something on TikTok. I kind of scrolled past it quickly, but I saw someone talking about how she had gone on a few dates with him, I think, and that Joan dodged a bullet, but I
Oh,
didn't watch the entire thing. I probably should have.
I think there'll be more people coming out of the woodwork like that, like, it will continue to come forward and just be like,
Right.
"Well, it was a good thing that this didn't work out." There's something
Mhm.
inauthentic about Guy. I can't tell if it's because, like, as we talk, his teeth are so white that, like, it feels impossible. And he was so tan this episode that
Mhm.
Oh,
everything was
Yeah.
just,
yeah.
like he was almost, like, hyper colored, like, this whole, like, episode, like, I guess Technicolor is, like, the better word, where it was, like,
It was
everything
like
on him
Ken vibes, kind
Ken,
of.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was
Yes. Yeah.
oversaturated like Barbie. I was, like,
Golden
so
Ken.
yes. So, like, overwhelmed, and then I felt like he was, like at first I was like, "Wow, he's really sad, he's really upset," and then he pulled away, and he hadn't actually dropped that many tears, so I was kind of
Right.
like, "Is this a classic where you make a lot of noise as
Yep.
if you are crying, and then
Mhm.
you pull away and you've been trying to force the tears?" I don't know.
It's hard to know. I don't trust him, and I just would be real I don't know if I could watch a season with him as the lead, like because beyond that, I'm, like, just not interested in him at all.
No.
I think that's what it is. It just, to me, he didn't have star quality,
Yeah.
Yeah,
whereas
not
Charles
at all.
has so much star quality. Mark
Oh
has
my
star quality. Pascal, I mean, didn't love him, but he had star
He has
quality.
star quality, he does.
yeah.
Even Jonathan had, like, more star quality than
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
Jonathan and Mark getting girlfriends is, like the franchise is like, "This is the worst thing
I
that's ever happened to
know.
us." Like,
I know. I wonder if they'll try to bring in a celebrity or something.
Right.
I would love that.
I know that they used to do this, like, decades ago in
Mhm.
Bachelor Nation, they would bring in, like, people completely out of the franchise who were, like, sort of celebs. Like, didn't they bring in gosh, I can't even remember who it is now. But anyway, they used to do that more, and it's like, you could still do that. Like, they talk about it here and there, but it hasn't happened in recent years, like, ever.
No. I know that there's been rumors about Ilona Maher
I saw
being the
Yes.
that.
Bachelorette. Are you guys watching Dancing with the Stars?
I literally look forward to it so much every week. It's the best
It's
show ever.
it's so good. It's just like the palate cleanser we need
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
And I am here for the Jen and Sasha thing. If they're
me
dating,
too.
I think it's super cute.
I think it's really fun. My husband and my sisters and I, we did a draft of like who would be on our team, and the only person I have left is Joey. So I really, really need Joey. I think he has a shot. I need Joey to
I
win.
think
I
he's
think
gonna
he has a
win.
shot. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But Alana would do great as Bachelorette because she's so confident, but also is not afraid to be upset and like put people in their place. And she's a different kind of like very beautiful. Like as she talks about, she's like, I'm 200 pounds and 170 of those pounds are solid muscle. And like she's
Right.
picking her partner up and whipping him around and he's whipping her around. And I'm like, this is great. Like,
I saw
It's
a video, like a reel of like Joey training her to like give out roses. Did you guys see
yeah.
that?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
It was so funny. Like
she's
she
so
had
funny.
such a natural like timing and execution. It like didn't feel forced. I was like, I actually feel like I'm watching like a funny skit on like
Yeah.
SNL or something. Which
Yeah.
like I appreciate that like personality. And that's so huge in our bachelors and bachelorette.
Yeah.
I would love it. My hope for Golden, and this is delusional and based on literally nothing, is that they are not going to announce a Golden Bachelor until they figure out what to do with Paradise and bring
That's
everyone together at Paradise and see who really shines from that. Like similar to when Nick Viall ended up as the
right.
Bachelor after his showing on Paradise. I feel like something similar to that could happen where maybe one of these guys that we didn't get to see that often because they weren't Joan's type or whatever could be really charismatic and pop on screen and be it from the beach. I don't know. That's based on nothing. That's like literally my dream, but I don't know.
Do we know, are they doing a Golden Paradise?
I tried to get Sandra to give me some information in DMs and she just kept sending wink faces. But she's so like, she's so coy
It's
like that.
it's not a no. It's not a
No.
no. That seems like, yes, there's something in the works.
Or like she wants there to be. So we'll see.
That would be they should do one, like, now. Like, they
Mhm.
should film it now and then, like, put it on maybe between the Bachelor and Bachelorette seasons.
Yeah.
Because I do think, like the other thing we have to remember is these golden seasons are shorter, like,
Mhm.
than an already short season. So, like, we really don't have that much time to get to know these guys. Like, they put a lot into us getting to know Mark. And I feel like I knew Mark by the end
Yeah.
of this. And if
Mhm.
he became the Golden Bachelor, I'd know who he was and we were there and everything. But, like, if we had a little more time with some of these other potentials, like, it could really kind of boost it. But then again, we didn't know anything about Joan, really. So,
Yeah.
and it
No.
worked out.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know anything about the viewership numbers, but, like, Gary's season was, like, such a hit. I haven't heard anything similar about Joan's season.
Yeah, I haven't really either.
I see a lot of people talking online about the guys, and so I think it was well watched. I just don't know. Like, I don't think it's hitting Joey numbers. I don't think we're gonna
Mhm.
get there for a very long unless they pick someone like Alana. I don't think they can expect that again.
That would be
Yeah.
really amazing.
Mhm.
So what is there to say about the finale other than, like, I'm so happy for Joan and Chalk?
I I cried like a few
Yeah.
times, like when I just thought like Joan not bringing Guy to meet her parents was her parents.
Her
'Cause it's usually the parents. Her children was so thoughtful, and I think, like, so refreshing from what we talked about with Gary, where, like, Gary told Faith he loved her in front of her children and then broke up with her. Like, Joan did not want to bring anyone's family into it that didn't have to be brought into it, and that made me like her a lot, that, like, she made up her mind and was like, "It's just gonna be Chalk that meets my family," and that family visit I thought was really sweet. Like,
Mhm.
Chalk is so good with his
Yeah.
words in a way that I don't find to be planned out or sketchy or anything, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
really loved it when he told Joan's son that he's not trying to replace his dad.
Yeah.
I thought that
That
was
that
such a
was
beautiful moment.
That got me when he said, "I'm not here to replace your dad, I'm just here to love her and have adventures and just enjoy to the end."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that
feel
is
like he just knew that that was, like, what he needed to hear too, you
yeah.
know? And it didn't feel rehearsed, it didn't feel forced, it
Mhm.
felt really genuine. Like, Chalk is, like, such a, like, white bread dude, but, like,
Yeah.
that's okay. I don't know. It's like him and Joan just they are what they need for each other, I think, going
Yeah.
into these this final chapter of their lives, and I'm happy for them. Like, you should be able to have that, as your golden years, like, and I don't think it's a story that we often see depicted, like, in a genuine
No.
way.
Not at
And
all.
I thought that was really cool what you said, Zara, at the top of the episode about how, like, seeing a love story where it's not like, oh, we're gonna, like, do these things and, like, this is us and our new beginning and whatever. It's like, oh, I already have a life, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And how do we navigate the life that I already have while wanting to have love in that life as
Yeah.
well, a partner? And what does that mean? And like, Joan did break the mold in some important ways. Like, I do think it was, like, a pretty big move to be like, I am not going to have overnight fantasy suites, like,
Mhm.
with bed.
Yeah.
These are just going to be conversations, and, like, and she held fast. So, like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say I love you until the end. Like, you
Yeah.
know, there were some
Yeah.
principles that she held on to that kind of matched, I think, what she wanted out of this in a way that felt real. Where, like, Gary was just, like, all over the place and really
Yeah.
messy, and it ended up really badly. Like, I was not surprised when him and Teresa announced that they were getting divorced 2 months
No.
after getting married.
0%
No.
surprised.
Like,
No.
if it happened with Chalk
Gary
and Joan, I would be sad and surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary was like Pilot Pete 2.0. Just
Yeah. He was just a whore. Like, he was just emotionally and
Yeah.
physically, he was just being such
He
a
had no
hoe.
business being there, like,
No.
really none.
No, none at all. And
no.
and I think, like, this as you're saying, Andrew, like this modern relationship is being reflected in like Chalk and Joan are both going to keep their houses and then they're buying an apartment in New York City together to have that be their like
Oh,
meeting point.
oh,
So they'll
yeah.
spend a lot of time traveling between their families. And then when they want time for just them, they'll meet in New York City at this apartment that they're going to buy together. And I'm like, I
yeah.
think that that's like, obviously they both have money. That's
Yeah.
such a smart way to use your money is just like, yeah, have a little love pad in New York City. Like, have fun. I hope I
Is
run
it
into them.
free? Like, I mean, I think it's just they're both being really realistic about
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
what can and cannot do in a romantic relationship at this advanced age with full families and children. Like, it's just not the same as
No.
when you're in your early 20s and you marry someone and start a family. It's just not.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the main show just feels so delusionally romantic, which
Yeah.
can be
Yeah.
fun to watch. I mean, it can be fun to watch people who have this idea that nothing matters except our connection.
Right.
And then, to test, it's like you're jumping off a cliff together and testing that theory, and it generally doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
But I love that Joan was like, I believe in prenups. I want someone who can keep up with me financially. I want to have these cool experiences, and those experiences cost money. Like,
Yep.
I've listened to
Right.
her on a few podcasts, and she's not here to pretend she's not established. And I love that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's good for her. Good for
Yeah.
her. I yeah, I think my only issue with Joan is like her communication style, which I've been talking about this whole season. But I think like in the end, she was able to communicate whatever the hell she wanted to
Yeah.
communicate. And she got
Yeah.
it through and she found someone who they're just on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Like they just are.
They
Yeah.
match. Like they just have they just belong together. And I think that was like literally apparent from their first one-on-one and they seem like such a good couple that I didn't even really care that it was obvious. Like after the Disney
Right.
date, we pretty much were like it's
Game
chalk.
over.
Like it's
Yeah.
the only thing that got I don't want to say in the way because it's disrespectful to the dead, but the only road bump was like literally his mom died. And
Mhm.
Right.
when he came back for her, I was like, oh, this is it. Like he can't not be him.
Right.
The way they handled that was so strange.
Very bizarre.
Like it seemed like he was gone, and then all of a sudden he's just back, but
Yeah,
they
like
didn't
in the
set it
same
up at
episode.
all. Yeah.
Like, was it a
It was
couple of
weird.
days or a
And
couple of
that was like
hours?
truly the most dramatic thing that happened on this
Mhm.
season. Like they should have really milked that, but
Yeah.
I know,
I
like, they
don't
should have
know.
had a whole week where he wasn't there, like,
Yeah.
I think maybe Joan was just like, "I'm gonna quit." If he's like, I
Maybe.
wonder if that happened or, one thing I wanted that, like, sort of I took note of in the finale was after the final rose when Joan and Guy were sitting down. I didn't love what she said to him about it was just a timing thing with us. It was
Yeah.
just
It was
that, like
strange.
I was like, if I was Chalk and I heard that, that would really hurt my feelings. Like, she
Yeah.
was basically saying, like, I could be in the same position with you. It was just like it didn't work out that way, and I ended up with Chalk. And I'm like, was that weird to anyone else? It was weird to me.
No, I thought
It
that was weird too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but to Joan's credit, I think that is kind of a staple of that after the final rose
Right.
conversation. They're always just kind of like trying to grab for straws and trying to walk that line of like, I don't want to piss off my fiance, but also I don't want to piss off America and essentially admit that I always knew who it was and I led the
Right.
other one on until the end. So I think
Right.
it's always that kind of delicate balance. And it's also that, hindsight is 2020 thing. And I'm
Right.
sure in the moment it didn't feel like that, but maybe looking back, it was Chalk just got there first because he had one of those earlier one-on-ones, or I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right. I mean, I think I'm just like there are a few other options she could have used to like still stay in everyone's good graces with that. Like she could have been like my heart was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like she did in the breakup, like that was good enough.
Yeah.
It felt like
Yeah.
she was sort of walking back on that a little bit and saying something that if I was her partner in that situation and I heard her saying about the other guy who was second, I would be like,
Yeah.
like I would want
Yeah.
to talk about that afterwards. Maybe Chalk didn't see it. Maybe he doesn't care. I don't know. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I just thought that was weird.
I thought she was, like, trying to make Guy sound good. Like, I was worried at that point that it was headed toward Golden Batch for him because
Mm.
I think her being so like, "Well, you are a great guy and you're so easy to fall in love
Yeah.
with." I kind of felt like she's, like, queuing him up to be the bachelor, which I just would be so disappointed about, but
That's probably what it is,
yeah.
honestly. I mean, I don't know. I would choose Pascal over Guy, and I'm not really a Pascal fan.
And
So
Pascal said he only wants, like, younger girls on the show, which would, like, defeat the
Yeah,
entire purpose of the show, but
I
that's
know.
fine.
um okay, and then we had our next bachelor in the audience as well. Um
I forgot what a babe he was. I really did forget how hot he is, and then he's
he's so
He had a
pretty.
bachelor glow up
oh,
too. The suit
yeah.
was really good. He looked great.
Yeah. So like did they show us a preview of his season? Yeah, they
Mhm.
did, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Lots
It
of
looks like
crying.
it's gonna be yeah, I mean, they made it look good like they
Yeah,
always do. I hope it is good for, like, a lot of reasons.
I hope
I
so.
hope so. There was a
Um,
lot of his like music
Yeah.
endeavor happening, and he's not great, but
No, no, and it's funny because that's we made a meme about him walking out and singing
uh-huh.
and, like, covering our eyes while he was singing, and he reposted it, like, making fun of himself, and so
yeah.
I was kind of surprised because he had this self-awareness about not being a very good singer. I was kind of surprised that, like, he was singing for quite a bit of that preview.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it was odd that they chose to make that such a big part of, like, a
yeah,
two-minute promo or less than that, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it'll end up being better than we think it is
yeah,
along
maybe.
that dimension. I mean, I don't know, he's so sweet, like, his energy is so sweet. I don't know, I think it'll
Yeah.
be a joy to watch him no matter what.
Yeah.
I
Was he
agree.
your first choice from Jen's season, or would you have chosen someone else?
I can't even remember the other men now. Isn't that so bad that it's like
I
I
mean,
have, like,
man, like, all I
amnesia.
can think of is, like, Devin and that, Sam
Oh,
awful
fucking
man
Sam
Dan,
M.
which, like,
I
no,
did
it's
have
not
someone who was on her season that I liked.
there were definitely a bunch of guys, and I cannot think
Jonathan,
of who
maybe?
any of them are. Did you think of anyone, Zara?
I
Oh,
feel like if
Jonathan.
we could mash up Grant and Jonathan, because Grant, I wonder if he's gonna have the humor and the fun that Jonathan has, but I
Yeah.
also don't think Jonathan is really ready to commit. Like I think Jonathan is a little bit
Interesting.
more Bachelor in Paradise and a little less
Mhm.
Bachelor, whereas I totally buy that Grant is ready to propose and settle
I
down and all that.
I totally agree. Oh my god, I'm, like, looking at these bios, and it's just, like, a blast from the past of going yeah, I think Jonathan or maybe Jeremy had it towards the end,
Oh, Jeremy, Jer Bear.
or
Yeah,
Spencer.
we
I
love
think you wanted Spencer, Andra.
I wanted Spencer. Yes, I loved
Yeah.
Spencer. Well, I mean, the Jonathan thing, so I guess now we're, like, done with the Jonathan and Jen rumors.
Yeah. He
Like,
Yeah.
seemed
that's
kind of
over
bummed.
now. So, yeah, which, like, okay, that's fine. But
Yeah.
this makes me sad. There were definite contenders, though, like, beyond Grant, but I think Grant is great. Like, I don't know. I mean
We just didn't see him till the end. That's
No.
really all it is with Grant. I think if he had gotten a hometown or if he had gone to fantasy suites, it would have been so much easier to get behind him. But unfortunately, I just don't think we got quite enough of him.
No, we're gonna have to meet him on the season, which is always, like, an
Mhm.
interesting thing to start from behind, but I
Yeah.
hope he'll do a good job. I hope he's, like, expressive and that the girls are not too mean and there's some good friendships because 'cause I'll miss the friendships.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think that I think he will be expressive. I think he is well-spoken and in tune with his feelings. Like, from the little we saw of him, it does seem like he's able to, like, communicate well, and,
Yeah.
like, that's important in your lead to be able to, like, talk,
Yeah.
and to
Mhm.
just be like, "Oh, I love that," or,
Oh, that's great. Thanks for
"That's so great,
sharing.
you're so nice," like, you know?
And then they just
Maybe
kiss.
get a little bit
Yeah.
deeper with people, talk about like real things. Cause like that's the stuff I'm interested in anyway. Like the surface level stuff is just kind of like whatever,
Yeah.
like so yeah, there were some women in the preview. I can't remember. There was someone who like was like, "Oh, I'm interested to see where things go with her," but I don't know anyone's names. Like I don't even remember it now. So I guess we'll just find out when the season comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Is there any other like Bachelor Nation news swimming around these days? Or I haven't really heard of much.
I haven't either.
I
Yeah.
saw that Trista and Ali Fedotowsky are going to be on
Special Forces.
Special Forces.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think there were rumors about that a while back when they were filming because they had like went off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because Trista, there was that whole drama with her husband.
Yeah.
Okay. So
her husband posted like they had separated or she had died, and really she was just gone for a month on Special Forces. It's like so
have
much.
either
Kind of
watched that
seems
show?
like they do that a lot.
Yeah.
I've watched a few episodes here and there.
I haven't watched it. My sister loved it. Apparently Hannah B was like a beast. Like she
Not surprised.
had like so much
Yeah.
mental and physical toughness, which like makes sense, but just is always
Yeah.
surprising.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of that season, but I watched a little bit of the one with Tyler, Cameron, and Nick. Yeah, it was, I mean, I could see why people get really into it. I could see if
Yeah.
you watch it front to back.
Yeah, you're like binging. I mean, it's like survivalist. Like and
Yeah.
wondering if you could survive basically the psychological torture that they're going to put you through pretending to train you to be like a Marine or something. I forget what the Special
Right.
Force group is.
Yeah, well that's cool because they're kind of those two are like, the old guard for sure.
Yeah.
Of Bachelor
Yeah.
Nation. I mean, Ali not as much as Trista, but still, like Ali's like
No, Trista's, I mean, Allie's like an OG. Like she's
Yeah. It's been a long time.
a lot of kids watching now, like some of the people that are on the show would have no idea who she is.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of her from her season and it was like she very much had the like 90s Britney look kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Like that was like sort of the time. She was like of that time, which like made sense that she was a bachelorette then.
Yeah.
Sort of interesting. Like I don't think we would get a bachelorette like that now, which I think is a good thing.
Maybe. She was on in 2010.
Oh, that
so
wasn't
like
that long ago. I mean, yeah.
14 years.
Yeah. Actually that is.
Yeah, I think a lot has I didn't watch her season, so I don't know that much about her. I just see her on social media and it's all picture perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see her on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so any final thoughts about Joan, Bachelor, anything? We're gunning for Charles L. I am anyway.
No, I think Charles L would be a really fun season. I would just say, like, I give a lot of credit to Katie Thurston, Jen Tran, and a small handful of other people from this franchise who have been really vocal post-election,
Yep.
who are not afraid of losing followers. I know that, I think The Bachelor famously has this nonpartisan appeal. People talk about the show feels a little bit more rooted in conservative culture and rhetoric, but there are a lot of more liberal viewers, and it really, I don't know, it's just that one show that kind of straddles the line. So it's really interesting to see how silent people from the show get around these issues.
Quiet.
But I really give credit to these women who are brave and who are putting their voices out there, especially Katie. I mean, she's talked a lot about her sexual assault and how she's been trying to get justice and how that hasn't worked. So yeah, I would just say shout out to them.
Yeah, I think that's so important too, is like being as vocal in like our support of people who do speak out as we are of the people who post stuff in support of Trump. Like I think it unfortunately does take bravery to speak out and say like, no, I don't think a rapist should be president, but like that's where we live. And I think you're right. I think that Bachelor Nation like is conservative but isn't quite MAGA, and so it kind of like toes this line constantly, and people willing to cross it I think like should be commended because they are few and far between. Like I was on social media constantly obviously the day after the election, and it was business as usual for 99% of contestants, where it's like, do you really think today is the day that you had to drop your DSW ad for the holidays? Like it couldn't wait one fucking day. Like
wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Not that specific example, but, like, a lot of people who
They just
like, I
didn't acknowledge at all.
didn't acknowledge it. The Becca Tilly and JoJo Fletcher friendship is something that I always come back to in my mind and is curious
So
about
do
this
I.
because Becca Tilly is not only dating a woman, but she's dating a woman of color who's very, very politically active. Like Haley Kiyoko is very outspoken about her beliefs, and Becca is kind of quiet about it and doesn't say much. And I'm a fan of JoJo, but it came out basically that she was like liking Trump posts in 2016. I think she has since learned her lesson. I don't know if her views have changed. Like she's from Texas. She's from like a very conservative immigrant family that like definitely seemed to vote for MAGA. At least her brothers were posting some stuff. And so I'm always curious about that friendship and how it is so strong when it does seem has Becca's sexual orientation changed JoJo's political views. This is not my business, but also like how do you stay friends if someone votes against your own identity? I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time they post together and they were together shortly after the election, I was kind of like, I really wonder what those conversations are like. And I'd really like to know.
Yeah, I did see Becca posted something that very, very vaguely pointed towards her leaning blue this year.
Mm,
Um, and I think that's a big step for her. And I
yeah.
get it. I mean, I think she is one of those people who's probably under a ton of pressure because
Mhm.
of the type of family she grew up in and of now being in a queer relationship. And I also know it's ridiculous to say that when she is a white woman
Right.
and there are so many women of color on this show, on reality TV in general, in the public eye in general, who are under much more
Yep.
pressure. And we don't always have that same level of compassion for them. But I did see what she posted and it made me happy because I
Good.
do really like Becca Tilly. I
Me
think she's a
too.
sweetheart.
Me
Yeah.
too.
So, just so I'm clear here, like Becca in this relationship, I mean, I was just assuming she's like gotta be liberal, like to be in a relationship, not just, not even around identity, although that's a huge part of it, but being in a relationship with someone who is very outwardly liberal. I guess I just
Yeah.
assumed that. But Zara, you're saying like she hasn't really been outward about that.
She hasn't been outward about that. And I think she has sort of alluded to the fact that she grew up pretty conservative.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was clear from her season with like her
yeah,
whole journey has been a huge surprise for me based
Yeah.
on what I saw on that season. Yeah.
yeah. And then I think two of her sisters are
Yep.
also, I don't know how they identify, but I believe
Yeah.
they're also dating women.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting one to watch because she talks about it, but she's still pretty guarded.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting to think about when people get famous and what their relationship to this type of thing is like
Right.
versus a Katie Thurston who became famous in 2020. Does that just open the door more for you just by virtue of when you come into the public
Mhm.
eye and how you are able to establish yourself as a person who is for a certain kind of person.
Mhm.
I mean, I know Katie posted something about how she had 1.2 million followers and now she's down to like 7 something. And she's like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I am for who I'm for. I'm not for who I'm not for. Like,
That's
you
a
Yeah.
know,
big drop. Like, good for her. That's
yeah.
good for her. Like, it does take courage, unfortunately. And I think Mary and I spent a long time debriefing how we
Yeah.
feel about the election last episode. And I continue to have those thoughts and conversations and things now. And it's just like the people that are sort of like resonating with me the most in this moment are people who are just standing up for what they actually believe in
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
putting it out there, hell or high water. Like
Mhm.
you can't be like calculating and measuring all the time. You have to
Yeah.
just kind of have a moral stance and just be behind it. And
Yeah.
like, for
Yeah.
Katie, like that's a lot of money that she's
It's a
losing,
lot of money.
Yeah.
and that's a bottom line for some people, and a lot of people, like I'm sure the majority of Bachelor Nation just straight up said nothing after
Oh,
the
Mhm.
by far no.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Charity Lawson posted that she flew home to Georgia to vote because she was going to vote for Kamala in Georgia because it was swing state. So she
Oh,
Yeah.
gets,
wow. Did
yeah.
she say that much?
Yep. She posted, she was like, I'm
Wow. Good
going
for
home.
her.
I'm going to keep my state blue. I mean, it, didn't work, but I appreciated her flying home to go do it. But yeah, I think that Charity has been outspoken as well. And I think that's where pressure is, like she's already under so much scrutiny because she's a Black woman in this franchise and she's getting married to another Black man and their relationship was under so much scrutiny and continues to be. And so for her to say something, I was like, I knew she was good. Like she's good.
Yes.
She's a good egg.
I love
Yeah.
that she stood up for Chandler on Dancing with the
Me
Stars too.
too.
Which, what the hell?
What the
Well, what
hell is
happened?
going on?
What happened? Tell me.
It's just like she's a Disney Channel star. I'm not that familiar
She's
with
an
her.
excellent dancer. I've watched part of the season.
Excellent dancer. And
Excellent.
people will just comment online and be like, her vibe is off. Something's off.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like,
she seems perfectly nice. Like
so nice.
completely nice and
she was putting up with like
unproblematic.
one of the judges, like every season, Carrie Ann basically like picks on one person.
Right.
And because Chandler came in as such an excellent dancer, they were
Yeah.
almost like withholding her super high scores from her. And it's like, but she doesn't have as big of a following as like Alana. Like Alana has millions and millions of followers. She's not as good of a dancer. She's worked very hard. She's gotten better, but like she's not as good of a dancer. But Alana will get like pretty high scores because she's improved, but Chandler will get dinged because she was a little bit worse than last week, but it's still a pretty perfect dance. So it's kind of like, and then this whole thing, and then people being like, because she said to Carrie Ann, like, what do I have to do to get a good score from you? Like trying to joke, and everyone was like attacking her for it. And I was like, she's so young, she's so talented, like let her live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's so, and you just know that there's a darker kind of context underneath it all, unfortunately.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, well, all the things press on.
Yeah.
And it's all reflected through Bachelor Nation. It's such an interesting place to be and to observe.
Truly.
And I wish Joey and Kelsey would say something, but they probably haven't said anything. I feel like they're definitely in that space between where they're probably
really
just trying to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially Joey having a dad who is gay, like
right.
You know.
It's just there's so many things, but who knows? I don't fucking know. That's all I know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Okay, well, Zara, it was so nice to have you with us.
So great.
So good talking to you again.
Yeah, well,
it was
I'm sure
fun.
we'll talk during Grant season. I think we're going to have a lot of our similar themes to circle back on because it's
for sure.
Every time you have a lead of color, the nation acts like a fucking psycho. So
the nation acts a fool.
Yeah.
Actually, Mary, when you texted me and said you were getting into a fight with someone on Instagram about
you thought it was about Grant?
Before I watched it, I was like, oh, this better not be about Grant. Because like I'm not, if it's already starting, like absolutely not. So
I haven't
Zara,
said anything, but I'd fight for him. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Zara, can you tell our listeners where they can find you and your work?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Zara Hanawalt, on TikTok at Zara Hanawalt, and yeah, that's really it.
Awesome.
Thank you
so much, Zara.
Bye.
Bye.
We're back.
Part 2.
I'm
excited about this.
Oh my God. How many episodes did you watch? Just so
I've seen all of them.
Okay, I've seen 8. I don't know how many are out.
I think that's right. Let me see.
The last thing I saw was like Tommy coming in and eating eggs.
Okay. I need to look at the cast because
should we talk person by person, do you think?
I think so. Couples. We need to talk about the show as a whole, like the host.
Yeah.
Like at first I was like, I miss Ian.
But now
I kind of like the dude.
I know. His bit about like still rooting for Dylan, even though Dylan is like more and more problematic as the days go on, is so funny. Where he's like, oh no, he's a perfect angel. And it's like, oh, we're not going to question him about that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of funny. There was a joke that was made on the last episode, and I cannot remember what it is, and I'm sorry I'm bringing this up, but it made me laugh out loud. Like, I rarely laugh out loud.
Oh, I can't remember what it was. I can't remember I think I know what you're talking about, though.
You know what I'm talking about? It was something so good. I have to go back and watch because it, like, really got me. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the vibe is, like, it's similar to the UK, but it's so different, too.
It's different, and, like, the attachment style is very extreme, which I'm curious to talk about.
Yeah, like, just in general, like, in the culture, you think?
I don't know, but because I'm only exposed to it on this, but every season this happens where people get, like, way too attached really fast.
And they, like, literally don't know anything about each
And
other.
they don't know each other at all. They get very territorial about talking to different people way faster than, like, other franchises, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so where do we start? Who do we start with?
Well, who's your favorite?
Oh my god. Uh, okay. I love Mimi.
Mimi's my favorite too.
Like, I appreciate M to some
She's
degree.
growing on me. I like her and Taylor a lot.
Right. I they seem like if I were to be a relationship on the show, like, I would most likely be in that relationship, I
Yeah,
think. Like, I might be more like Taylor than M a little bit,
yeah,
but, like, of everyone, those are the people that I like the most.
yeah.
How about you?
I totally agree. I really like Mimi. I think we could talk about the offset of the other behaviors in the house and how Mimi's behavior of being like she likes Dylan and we'll get into this stuff I'm sure, but like Dylan says fucked up things and like does not say the right things pretty much ever. And
Right.
she's like, "Yeah, that was the wrong answer." Like that's not she's like, "That's not good enough." And she did the same thing with Zayn, who's like the biggest dum dum
Oh,
ever.
Zayn, that man, he is an perfect example of how looking that good can really mess you up.
Yeah, everyone should have an ugly phase because if you don't,
Yeah.
you will have truly no personality where, like, Zayn is, like, the lights aren't even on. Like,
The lights are they're,
he's
like, flickering a little
flickering.
bit, but he's like, "I'm just gonna turn these off."
Yeah, and, like, he means well, but he really has no idea, like, how his actions can hurt other people's feelings. Like, he has no clue
No clue.
when people are upset.
Wait, can we make a T-shirt that says everyone should have an ugly face?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so important, and I think you can tell when
Yes,
people have not had that, and they've been,
yes,
like, going to one of my least favorite people, Hannah, have been
yes.
princess their
I was
entire
just
life. Yeah.
oh my god, okay. Nico.
"Nico, you're gonna have a hen? You're gonna have a bachelor party, and you're gonna cheat on me?" It's like, sorry, we're skipping so far ahead, but it's like, "Hannah, what do you think a bachelor party is? You think that it's really permission for the groom to fuck someone else? It's like,
Yeah,
it's a party with your friends."
I know, like, I was glad that Nico was kinda like, "Actually, no." Like,
No.
and,
No,
like, I'm not gonna cheat on you, it's just, like, an opportunity to, like, whatever, but you're gonna do it with naked girls there? And it's like, "Oh my god,
no,
Hannah."
they're not. Yeah.
Like,
I liked them. I thought they were, like, a good match at first, and
same.
as annoying as I found her, like, she's not nice. She's so
No.
quick to talk shit. Alicia is gone, and thank God, because that girl was awful,
She was worse than Hannah, like,
worse than
actually
Hannah,
worse.
because she would just be like, it's competition that it's embarrassing that I was in competition with her. Da, 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 I'm done. I'm done." Like, she was just, like, so upset all the time, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's like
relax."
it was actually just so, like, gratifying to see how that
Yeah.
all played out because she was coupled up with Taylor, who, like
Mhm.
Taylor walking into the villa, I was like, "Oh my god, like, this guy." But then he starts talking and actually interacting with the women, and I'm like, "Oh, he actually seems like kind of a cool" like, not cool, that's not the right
He's, like, thoughtful, like, he
yeah,
actually cares about getting to know people, and I think, like, M is obviously gorgeous, everyone on the show is beautiful, but she's a little bit alternative, like, she
yeah,
wears, like, plaid skirts and Doc Martens, and she has tattoos, and she has short hair, which are all things that are, like, rare for women on the show, like, everyone else has kind of this, like, mermaid flowing hair, and they're wearing, like, very skimpy club outfits, and
right.
Taylor, like, actually cared about who the person was, and Alicia was like, could not believe
Yeah,
that she was getting passed over for anyone else, and that the passover couldn't have been physical, and it's like, A, M is beautiful, so it could be
Yes.
physical, and also, like, that's not the most important thing, and, like, your personality sucks. Like,
Yeah,
it is
like
impossible to be around you.
and, like, she was so fucking needy, like, you're talking
So
about this
needy.
crazy attachment style, like, so needy, like, from, like, day 1, like,
From the
what is
second. Like,
Yeah,
from Taylor sitting down in the circle, she was, like, territorial about other people talking to him, and it's like,
yeah,
this is Love Island, like, it's day 2. Like,
yeah,
we
like,
really
on
should be
with it.
talking to other people where she's like, "Ah," and, she kept calling M a snake for
I know,
going behind
I
her
know.
back, in quotes, to talk to somebody, and it's like, that's the point of this entire show is talking to people, and Alicia, you also made up that she said that she didn't like him. She never said that.
I
You
know.
made that up.
Like, literally, she never said that, and the only thing that worries me about Em and Taylor is, like, this conversation about children that they had,
Yeah.
where Em does not wanna have children, and Taylor seems to want to have children, and that could be, like, a big thing, I think, for them. I think they really like each other,
Yeah.
but it's just interesting that that's sort of swimming around in the background.
It's also weird that it came up already. Like, I think it's also like this show, everyone is like gunning it
Right.
to be so serious, but it's not working at all. Like,
Yeah.
people are so intent on being like closed off so fast. And it's like, you have Taylor asking girls on the first day if they want children. And it's like, that really is a crazy thing to ask someone on the first day in the villa. That's crazy.
It's not even a date, it was like a chat,
A
you
chat.
know?
And
Yeah,
she was like, no." And he's like, "Do you think you could change your mind?" It's like she's like, "Maybe if I, like, love the person, but I don't know you." Like, it was so, like,
right.
so bizarre, and then, like, Elisha freaking out over Taylor, and then, like, Xanthi
Oh,
needs to go home.
baby girl, like,
21 years old and you wanna get married soon. Oh, honey.
she's so immature, and
So
it makes
immature.
me sad because she's beautiful, and she's the only person of color on
No,
the women's side.
Mimi's Mayari. Mayari, yeah.
Oh, okay. Her and Mimi too are, like actually, the women, for the most part, minus Hannah, minus Elisha, are way more natural
Yeah. Yeah.
beauty than like, Mimi, when she wears makeup and doesn't makeup, I almost can't tell. Like,
No.
she's so
She's
perfect.
She's stunning, like, she's really beautiful.
Yeah, and, like, like, M's makeup style is very understated, like, it doesn't look like any of them, including Xanthi, have had, like, extreme amounts of whatever,
No, I don't think so.
Whereas, like which, like, is just, like, a given on UK,
Yeah.
and this season of USA was out of control with the filler.
I mean, even the girl that they brought back as a god from the US, it was
Oh.
alarming. I have so much to say about this. It was alarming to see a 24-year-old from the US who's gone through the cosmetic machine be put in a villa with other 24 and 25-year-olds who look 10 years younger than her.
Right, right. That
Yeah.
like, is she really 24?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow, okay. I think I watched, like, the very beginning of her season, so she vaguely was familiar to me.
She's such a bad choice to bring. Like, she's a very classic person who over projects who they are because they
Right,
want to be seen a certain way. Like, even the way she's talking about herself, she's like, "Yeah, I'm like a siren. Like, men can't stay away from me, and like
right, which
I'm the
fair.
goddess. Like, you have to be up on my tower. Like, I'm the queen. Bring me the crown. Like, no one's worthy of me." And she did that a lot on her season, and like
It's so
and she
boring.
and
I'm
she's like,
sorry.
it's so boring, and she's like, "I'm a bad bitch, I say what I mean." That's just, like, not true, like, and that's fine, but, like, on her season, she did not stand up for herself at all. She got absolutely
Right,
dog walked by this guy, Isaiah. Like, he went to Casa, he probably had sex with someone else in Casa, and
right.
she cried for, like, a week, and then she forgave him, and
Oh,
so
I
this
think I did see this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
this whole projection of like, I'm a God, like, bow down. I have all this power.
God.
I'm like, I
Spare
don't think
me.
they do. Like, I think that, like, they cast it so poorly. Like, I think Maura Higgins could have pulled that off. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
she's so confident and she actually stands up for herself, where it's like Sydney was crying because someone else was crying. And
Right.
then the guy she picked, Zayn, is such an idiot where he's like, I don't really like Xanthi that much, but this is hurting her feelings. So, like, can you uncouple from me? Basically.
And she was like, I hate you. Bye.
She was like, I hate you. This goddess is staying single. Double middle fingers. I was like, come on. Like,
I know. I just feel like people just see through that shit, you know? And I think that's why like Leah was so iconic
yeah.
from this last season of USA is cuz she was so out of control
Yeah.
and that bad bitch quote unquote energy.
She had it.
But it was like real. It was like
Yeah.
she was saying it because she like really meant it. It wasn't like, "Oh, I need to give off this persona and like be this certain way." It's like, "No, this is how I feel." And
Yeah.
this is like who I am. And like people can see through that. Like it's
Yeah.
just very easy to see through. And yeah, Sydney does not have it. Like
No.
I don't think I think she's gonna get kicked off.
I don't know how it works with the gods. Like, if you can just be like
Me neither.
selectively single, I don't really know how that works, but like me and my friend Lauren and her husband watched the show. We would call her like Big Red, and we'd be like, "Oh, Big Red's crying again." Like, I just like, and she would never wash her face in the villa, and she would like chew with her mouth open, which, like, as you know, is like one of my main pet peeves. And so I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure she's a beautiful girl. Cut it with the filler. Like,
Right.
what are
It's
we
just too
doing?
much.
We
It's
say
too
this all the
much.
time, but it's like, come on.
Yeah, and there are so many girls on this season who are like just naturally bringing it and the guys are gravitating towards
Yeah.
them, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. Like literally every guy has talked about how hot Mimi is.
I know. I know.
Everyone is like Mimi, 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 Mimi. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, the girl looks amazing, like no matter what. And I think it's probably because she hasn't fucked with her face that
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
you know? Like she didn't need to. The other god, Steph, such a dud. I'm sorry.
I'm like, how does he get a third chance? He was so boring on games. I obviously didn't watch
Oh,
his
and
season
I
of
didn't even watch games, but like he's so like I'm French and hot, like
yeah,
to
he
me.
can't
And it's
talk
like
to women. And so it's like I just am like these choice. I mean, I guess how many people can they get to agree to go to Australia? You know, like I think that that's like
right.
it, but there were so many other choices that they could have picked that this just felt like a rare misstep for Love Island Australia. I think is like the casting of these two, because they're going to make no splash whatsoever. Like the main cast is so much more compelling than
Right.
either of the gods that it defeats the purpose. Like Sophie as a bombshell, like I was a little bit annoyed, but that bit of like she gets to come in and she kisses every guy and she whispers in Zayn's ear like, "Did you miss this?" Like that's dynamic. Like that is
Right.
like
She's
and
stirring shit up.
like Zayn didn't remember her, so like ultimately it didn't really work, but
Okay, so Zayn and Xanthi, like, it's a ticking time bomb. Like, I
yeah.
think like Xanthi doesn't actually even want to be there, I don't think.
No,
So
I think 21 is too young for this show. I think she
yeah,
needs to like go and learn some real
right.
life lessons and come back, because this is too
It's
she
too
takes
much.
everything too personally. Yeah.
Yeah, like, the guy just again, it's been like 3 days or
Yeah.
something, or 2 where you've been coupled with him, like, just because he cuddled you all night doesn't mean he's not gonna break your heart. Like, have you never seen this show? Like, come
Right.
on.
It's like the classic 21-year-old mistake that makes me so sad is like she's so upset with him all day.
Yes.
He doesn't talk to her all day, and then they get in bed and she's making out with him. And it's like to
Right.
get him back towards her in some way, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be like this.
Doesn't have to be like this. And like going way back to Kane, if we can remember him,
I
which is who
know.
he originally was with, I actually feel like they could have worked.
I thought so
So
too.
and like so it's sort of sad. The one thing I do love about Xanthi, which like we don't have as much of it from her now, is like the girl is so horny. It's
I
hilarious.
know. I know. She really is like she's losing her mind in there.
She's like, every guy is so hot.
She's, like, losing her mind. She's like, "I can't." She's like, "Oh my god, this villa. Oh, no." Like, they're
Oh,
so ev
no.
oh, no. They're so hot. Um,
Oh my god.
she just needs more time. Like, speaking of hot, Dylan used to be my favorite. I
Dylan is
s
hot, like,
Yeah, I mean,
again,
he's a gorgeous Irishman. Like, what could either of us really want? Like, that is
yeah.
he's every single year, someone says they have a problem with body count, and things just take a terrible turn. How can you sleep with upwards of 100 women and have a problem and put an expectation on your partner to have a specific body count? Like, what actually is wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2024. Like, it is
2024.
2024. If you can't realize that, like, not even like, maybe you feel that way, which is super fucked up, but, like, you can't even recognize that, like, you should not
You
be
should
saying that
say it.
shit.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And to walk it back to be like, "I actually don't care." It's like, "No, you just didn't think that this would come out." Like, I think what I
Right.
found out is that a lot of these game questions come from a long, long questionnaire that everybody's filling out answers to, and
Right. So they
one
don't necessarily think about where it's gonna end up.
no, and so what Coy said is like, "What's the ideal body count for a woman?" And he wrote 10 or, like, less than 10 or whatever, and it
Right.
not that you should have an ideal body count, anyone who didn't answer, it doesn't matter, like, fuck off,
Right.
but I think that Dylan did the same thing,
Yeah.
and when he tried to back it up, he just made it sound worse because I don't think he's, like, as smart as Mimi to be, like, going back and forth with her in, like, a verbal disagreement, like, I don't think it's gonna work.
No, I mean, I think, like, he's the best match for her in the villa right now. Like, I don't
Yeah.
see her really vibing with anyone else, although, like, I have my eyes on Indigo.
Interesting.
I think he is an interesting kind of, like, I think he has some sort of, like, I think he has an it factor
Yeah.
that, like, wasn't immediately apparent because he has such a, like, schoolboy look, you
Yeah.
know? Like, he looks like he has a baby
He's
face,
a baby.
he seems really innocent and whatever, but I think after Taylor, like, if I had to date these guys, which, like, ugh, like, I think I would actually go on a date with him after Taylor.
I would think I would go on a date with Tommy. Unfortunately, his
Oh god, I
whole thing would work on me. I don't wanna see anyone eat an egg, but I love a goofy guy who's just, like, willing to just, like, be like, "Fuck it." Like, I saw clips of him coming out in a one-piece bathing suit, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, that takes a lot of confidence. That's something."
You know who it reminds me of from the, All-Star season? The guy with the glasses who ended up just being
Oh, Chris?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
except, like, the better version of Chris.
Like,
Like,
actually
someone who
meaning it.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
walks the walk type of thing. Like,
Walks
he's
talk like
not just goofy.
he does not give a fuck, and I think that Mimi is very personality based, so I honestly, like, I do think that they could hit it off too.
Okay, I would actually love that.
Yeah.
I think because I also think that Indigo and Sophie are kind of in lockstep a little bit right now. Like, I could see that falling apart.
Yeah, I think
Maybe they're
Sophie
both
is
riding the wave a little bit there, but yeah, okay, Mimi and Tommy for sure. Like, Tommy, I think unfortunately what comes along with the kind of energy that he has is also, like, non-committal fuckboy
yeah,
energy.
yeah,
And
very,
I
like, gotta
don't
be out with
think
the
Mimi
lads.
is here for that.
No, I don't think so either.
I could see,
Oh,
like, an M and Tommy situation somehow
I could see
happening if
that.
Taylor fizzles.
I could see that. I think Sophie is gonna go for Zayn.
Oh, yeah, that's
I
true,
think she's been
actually.
interested in him this whole time.
Do you think is he interested in anything?
No, I don't think he knows where he is. Like, I don't think he has any idea what's going on. He just, like, shows up to the pool every day and is like, "Oh, okay."
He's like, "Oh, we're on Love Island?"
Like,
Like,
he
"Oh,
doesn't
I
talk to
guess
any of the
open it
girls.
up."
He has not pulled a girl for a single chat. Like, that's how he lost Mimi so fast. Like, they were paired up and then it was over so fast because he would not
I know,
talk to her. Like, it was
I know,
like
and Mimi is like ugh, I fucking love Mimi.
I
I
love her
really do.
too.
I just, like I want it'll be interesting to see how things progress from here. I'm definitely like locked in for sure though.
I love this show. I think it's like it's great. The cast is so fun. I love Sophie Monk. I think she's such a good host. Like she has
She's
so much fun
so
with it. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, she's really great. Like she's kind of like she's like fun and flirty and has like a sexy vibe, but it's not like an intimidating
No,
type of
like
vibe. Like Maya
she's
Jama's like
yeah.
intimidatingly not. And
Yeah, like
like she's hot, but she's like she's also your best friend.
yeah, she's like unattainable, but like still more accessible, I think, than Maya Jama. And I think it maybe is like the age difference where I think Sophie is 40 and these kids are 27 at the most. So I think it is this kind
Right.
of like she is very hot and confident, but there's no even entertaining it in the back of their minds. Like with
Right.
with Maya Jama, it's like in the back of all the male contestants' minds. It's like, okay, but maybe like
Yeah, and, like, Ariana is, like, somewhere in the middle. I don't really
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
It's
Ariana is
interesting,
very
though.
was powerful in her season and her outfits were insane, but,
I just feel like yeah, in Australia, it's just, like, she's good at, like she's very natural at, like, the fire pit, you know?
yeah, and
Like,
she
she can
calls people out. Like
yeah, like, she asks the right question, she's sort of like one of the gang in a way that, like, I still feel like Ariana's figuring that out, and I
mhm.
think Maya Jama, again, is, like, a little bit more of, like, a stepmom
Yeah.
type of vibe.
Like
Like the hot
checking in on her
stepmom.
children, yeah. I know. I really like it. I'm curious how it's gonna go, like, because I did think that Hannah and Nico were at least solid, but, like, a
Right.
brat's gonna be a brat, and it's the one time I've heard
Nico
a woman yeah. It's the one time I've
Nico
heard a
was
woman say
cool.
he
Yeah.
wasn't listening to me and his communication is terrible, and I've been like, "Oh, his communication is much, much better than yours. Your communication was actually horrible."
Nico gives me the ick, though, I
Oh,
have to
no,
say.
I don't find it I don't the feet thing
Ew. Oh, God. And just, like, he's not attractive to me either,
no.
like, it just I sort of hope that they somehow work through this because I think they're of all the people there, like, they do fit together the
Yeah.
most
Yeah, I
somehow.
agree.
So, maybe that will just work. It's yeah, it's, have they done this god and goddess thing before?
No, it's new. So, they don't do Casa Amor in Australia,
Oh,
so
okay.
they find, like, other ways to fuck with them throughout the season, and I think they were giving the god and goddess thing a try. I think it could have worked if it was, like, better people, like,
Right.
um
You need to have, like, the
yeah, like, if they had
yeah,
pulled, like I'm trying to think if it would be good. I mean, Maura Higgins would have been really good. I think if they had pulled, like, Justine, who won games and is just, like, unattainably beautiful, like, that would have probably worked better.
right.
Yeah, these aren't it.
How long are the Australian seasons
Oh,
typically?
I don't even know. Let me look that up.
Because yeah, I'm just wondering if it's, like, similar in length to a UK season, or is it more like a shortened version like the way the US was?
Wait, this is 87 episodes. That's not right.
Whoa, from
No,
last season?
no way.
And do they
Hold
do
on.
an after sun for Australia?
Not that I've seen. I don't know if we just don't get it
Or,
or
like, maybe it doesn't show up for us? Interesting.
okay, last season was only 20 episodes.
What?
That's what it says on here.
I
No
mean,
way.
if that's the case and we're almost halfway through, that's
That would
wild.
be nuts. Because oh, no. Yeah, no, that's season 4 was 29 episodes.
Okay.
So we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, it's gotta be at least 25, I would
I
think.
hope so. I'm not ready to be done with them yet.
Yeah, I know, I feel like I'm just getting to know all of them
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun, and it's
It's so much fun.
definitely, like, perfect to have right now that, like, Joan is over, Love is Blind is over. We probably won't have anything significant between now and The Golden Bachelorette.
I think The Ultimatum is coming back, but we have to decide if we're gonna watch that or not.
I have not ever seen that show before, but I'm open to it. There
Just
is
like
a show on Hallmark
oh,
called, like
yeah.
what's it called? Mr. Christmas or
Mr. Christmas? Yeah, I think so.
I think
Let me
it just
see.
started, so we may watch that if we need some extra content, but for now, I think we're focused on Love Island Australia.
Finding Mr. Christmas.
Okay, so if any of you out there are watching that and you think it's like amazing and we absolutely need to be watching it, tell us.
Wait, is this a dating show or is this a craft show? Hold on.
Wait.
No.
Okay.
We assumed for the photo it was a gay dating show. It's not.
Okay.
You're gonna die.
Okay, what is it then? I need to know what it is.
Hallmark's first ever reality competition series, Finding Mr. Christmas, will follow 10 promising Hallmark hunks who live together and compete against one another for the lead role in an upcoming original movie.
Oh my god. Okay, this is all my fault. I take full
No.
credit.
No, 'cause this lead photo, it doesn't help that Jonathan Bailey is the host and he's openly gay.
Wait, Jonathan Bailey is the host?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to watch though because I'm in love with him.
Yeah,
No, Jonathan Bennett.
Jonathan Bennett. Yeah, not from
Oh, if it was Jonathan Bailey, I would be
Oh,
losing my
game
shit.
over. Oh my god, this is so funny because they look like they're dressed up as caricatures of gay men. This is really crazy that I just went down I just jumped with you too that I thought that oh my god, that's so fucking funny.
So we were wrong. We were excited though,
We were
actually, that there
excited.
was we were like, oh, representation. Like there's gonna
In
be
Hallmark.
Yeah, like this is gonna be great. And then of course not. It's a bunch of dudes trying to be the lead in the most hetero rom-com universe known to man. Okay, so that settles it. We'll be talking about Love Island Australia from here on out. So we'll be back to our normal schedule of Thursday releases as of the week after this episode drops. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. And I mean, I guess if we have a little break in between this and the Bachelor season, like who knows how long Australia is going for. We'll see what we can fill it with.
Well, I think the Ultimatum season 3 is coming back.
Okay.
I don't see December 4th.
Oh, okay.
So if we do need something to watch, we can watch that.
It's so exciting.
It's like kind of like it's a messy concept. So it's interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, that's quite the endorsement.
Yeah. And Nicholas and Vanessa host.
Oh, well.
Because surprise, she gave him an ultimatum while they were dating. And that's what she credits for the success of their relationship.
Oh my God. Of course.
Of course.
Literally, of course.
Of course.
What's
going
on with those two. So
yeah.
In any case.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you to Zara for joining us for the beginning of this episode. So and we'll catch you next time.
Yes.
Cheers, lovebirds.
Cheers, lovebirds.
Thanks for listening to Can I Steal You for a Minute? Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you like the show, please leave a rating and review. Follow us on social media at Can I Steal You for a Minute Pod and support the show through Patreon at patreon.com/Can I Steal You for a Minute.